In tonight's headlines, Cyberport was found to have kept personal data of job seekers for up to 7 years, breaching its own guidelines. Hong Kong stocks jumped more than 2% on the first trading day of the second quarter. And the New Zealand rugby team touches down in Hong Kong ahead of the Sevens this weekend.
Seven months after Cyberport suffered a massive data breach, the privacy watchdog unveiled its findings. The government-owned company, which manages the sprawling campus near Telegraph Bay, was subject to a ransomware attack last August. The personal information of around 13,600 people, including existing and former employees, as well as job seekers, were stolen. Cyberport refused to pay a ransom of around $2.3 million, and the data were eventually exposed online. The Privacy Commissioner's office pointed out that 40% of the victims could have been spared from the mishap had the company adhered to its own rules. Under its data retention policy, the personal information of job applicants who did not secure an offer should be erased after 1 year. Likewise, the confidential data of workers shall be destroyed once they terminate their employment with Cyberport. Privacy Commissioner Ada Chong said the oldest case dated back to 2016 when the victim applied for a job at Cyberport. But the applicant's personal data were still in the system when the incident took place last year. The tech hub was unable to provide an explanation on the unnecessary retention, she added. While Cyberport is supposed to be Hong Kong's digital technology pioneer, it lacked a robust cybersecurity framework to properly protect its computer systems.
We take into account the fact that Cyberport is a company which is managing the Cyberport companies, and therefore we should expect a higher standard of cybersecurity and also data security being implemented by the company. I'd expect that being a company with a well-established database, holding a substantial amount of personal data, stakeholders and also members of the public would expect Cyberport to allocate sufficient resources to ensure its data security and cybersecurity.
Despite being named and shamed by the watchdog, Cyberport would not be facing criminal prosecution unless another breach occurs in the future. It has been ordered to implement a list of remedial measures by the end of next month. The manager of the tech hub said it has already stepped up work to strengthen system and data security. Janice Low, Cable News.
Love has no age boundaries, but so are scams. An 80-year-old woman was recently tricked into buying $3,000 worth of iTunes gift cards for her virtual lover, who turned out to be a con man in reality. According to police, the elderly victim was approached by the swindler through WhatsApp, who introduced himself as a Canadian engineer. After they got into a relationship, the professional requested the gift cards from the woman as a condition to physically meet up in Hong Kong. She only realized she had been scammed after her lover kept asking for more gift cards. The force warned the public to remain vigilant when browsing online.
There is outrage among the international community after 7 aid workers have been killed by an Israeli airstrike in Gaza. US-based World Central Kitchen said in a statement that its convoy was hit as it left a warehouse in Deir al-Balah after unloading over 100 tons of food there. The agency insisted the convoy, which included 2 armored vehicles marked with their group's logo, had coordinated its movement with Israeli forces. The 7 deaths included citizens from the United States, Canada, Britain, as well as Australia. One of them was Somi Francom, who only appeared in a video on the charity's website last week.
Zomi Frankham was an Australian aid worker working for the World Central Kitchen. This is someone who volunteered in Australia to help people during the bushfires. This is someone who was volunteering overseas to provide aid through this charity for people who are suffering tremendous deprivation in Gaza. DFAT have also requested a call-in from the Israeli ambassador to Australia as well. We want full accountability for this because this is a tragedy that should never have occurred.
The bodies of the workers were taken to the morgue at Al-Aqsa Hospital in central Gaza. The food charity said it has suspended operations in the region in another blow to the millions of starving Palestinians. The Israeli military said an investigation is underway to understand the circumstances of what it called a tragic incident. Ray Minyan, Cable News.
Hong Kong stocks rallied on the first trading day of the second quarter as investors reacted positively to upbeat economic data on the mainland. The Hang Seng Index opened 270 points higher and surpassed 1,700 points again for the first time in nearly 3 weeks. The benchmark ended up 2.4% or 390 points for the day. Turnover stood at $144 billion. Xiaomi shares soared as much as 16% after its electric vehicle received an overwhelming response. Brilliance Auto, which is considering a special dividend, even spiked 25%. Casino stocks also performed well, with Galaxy Entertainment and Sands China both advancing more than 4%. This came after Macau reported a 53% jump in gaming revenue last month, exceeding market estimates. Xiaomi's foray into the electric vehicle market has been a resounding success. The electronics giant received nearly 89,000 orders within 24 hours of launching its first EV, the SU7. All quotas for a second round of orders were also snapped up yesterday. The first batch of vehicles will also roll off the production line tomorrow, with Chairman Lei Jun announcing on Weibo that a ceremony will be held in Beijing. Customers from 28 cities will then get their hands on the SU7 on the same day. Xiaomi says the SU7 is superior to Tesla's Model 3 on over 90% of specifications and also 30,000 yuan cheaper. Morgan Stanley said if Xiaomi can continue to outperform its peers, it is likely to become a disruptive force in the Chinese EV market. EV sales picked up on the mainland last month after a slow start to the year due to seasonal holidays. BYD, which has overtaken Tesla as the world's biggest EV producer, sold over 300,000 battery-powered cars in March, a 46% surge. Li Auto, NIO and XPeng also reported a monthly surge in deliveries of between 14 and 39%. But looking at the first quarter as a whole, Li Auto and NIO still missed their delivery targets, while XPeng continued to trail its rivals on EVs sold. Bess Leung, Cable News.
The iconic Hong Kong Sevens returns to the city this weekend. Team New Zealand are already in town as they get ready to defend their men's and women's titles.
Being in the black jersey, you're expected to win. We take it as a privileged pressure because not everyone is expected to win. But when we get out on the field, we go back to what we know best, which is having fun, doing our core role and doing exactly what we know what we came out to do. So I think in those pressure moments, go back to why you're playing, and that's for a bit of fun, jamming the ball around, throwing the ball around with a bit of mates, and just having fun with your mates.
This year marks the 31st and last time that the popular event is staged at Hong Kong Stadium and Causeway Bay, as the tournament will be moved to the brand new Kai Tak Sports Park next year. The Hong Kong Rugby Union is expecting a full house this weekend, saying most of the 40,000 tickets have already been snapped up. 4 out of 10 tickets were sold to overseas fans, mostly from Britain, Australia, and Fiji.